Fpyq. Chapter 44. Plans fall through. After Yuè Hóu had sent out the letter from Princess Chongping, due to a freak combination of factors, it never reached Prince Chun's hands. This time, he also came with a lot of goodwill. Among the Qiang people, Yuè Hóu and his birth mother Gu Liqiu were part of the pacifist faction. Their tribe also did not supply any troops for the war. As a result, Yuè Hóu still had some confidence. However, he overlooked the differences between their cultures. In the eyes of the Han, his actions appeared like a warning. And he felt the loathe that was not at all concealed from the gazes of the Han soldiers. Princess Chongping was the royal princess of the Han. Her status was distinguished and noble, and she even sacrificed herself in a political marriage in order to bring Great Kong peace and stability. Now, she was treated as an object that could be gifted to anyone by the ugly and boorish Qiang people. So how could these officers and soldiers of the great state of Kong not detest this? How could they not feel pained? As Yuè Hóu entered Li Chen's tent, Li Chen was writing a letter. It was to be delivered to Jihuan. If the Qiang hadn't captured Little Qi, then it was possible that he arrived at Xinyuan country by following the Yun River. The spies of Xinyuan country were everywhere. Little Qi was wearing his clothes, conspicuous and honorable. Those spies would definitely capture him if they noticed him. Never had it crossed Li Chen's mind that Little Qi was dead. He was definitely somewhere Li Chen didn't know, waiting for him to find him. Yuè Hóu respectfully said, "This humble prince greets your highness, Prince Chun." Li Chen said with indifference, "The eldest prince may take a sit." A smile spread across Yuè Hou's lips. He was proficient in the Han language and had also learned the etiquette of the Han. After he sat, he stated his purpose for being here. He said that from the start, he had been against the Qiang invading Yushu Pass. His smile turned bitter. At the outset, when this humble prince suggested this to royal father and second brother both sneered at me. But this humble prince knew clearly that the Qiang were only momentarily brave. Once their drive was exhausted, they would lose their battles. It was impossible for the Qiang to successfully invade Yushu Pass. Your Highness may not know, but during that time, the pro-war faction had pushed aside this humble prince, and had almost ran me out of the royal capital. For a while Li Chen fell silent. Then he said, "Eldest prince and the Qiang share weal and woe. Now, whatever you say doesn't matter." At first, this humble prince and royal father did not have this kind of intention, said Yuè Hóu. However, he was led astray by the words of Xinyuan country's king, Cheng Sija. He said he would help royal father from the inside. Then the Qiang was suppressed at all sides this time, both within and out. It will be very difficult to reinstate our military power. Cheng Sija possesses rapacious designs. The great state of Kong should be more worried about him. Cheng Sija. Li Chen stared at Yuè Hóu. Noticing that Prince Chun did not seem to believe him, Yuè Hóu rose to his feet. In the past, this humble prince once received a handwritten letter from Princess Chongping to deliver to your honored self's camp, asking for your cooperation. In the end, you left before the letter reached you. Today the princess wrote a new letter. Once your honored self has read it, you will understand. Li Chen's expression finally showed a hint of change. The guard by his side went over to receive the letter. Li Chen opened it. He skimmed through the letter. Yuè Hou's heart raced as Li Chen said, "This prince must meet with the princess." However, Yuè Hou's expression proved very hesitant. "If your highness only brings your personal guards into the royal capital." The guard by Li Chen's side, Fang Gur, sternly said, "Presumptuous. His highness is extremely noble. How could he enter such dangerous territory? If you are sincere in wanting to cooperate, then send the princess to our military encampment." "That won't do," blurted Yuè Hóu. Princess Chongping was the guarantee that Great Kong and the Qiang would cooperate. If she met with her brother and decided not to return, his plans might fall through. Yuè Hóu said, this humble prince will guarantee your highness safety. Your highness has 100,000 men here. No matter what, we do not dare to make any moves. May your highness be at ease. Li Chen stared at the letter in his hands. All of a sudden, he smiled. Eldest prince, you should understand what this prince's intention is. This time, you are here to request for peace. It is not the other way around. Unperturbed, Fpyq replied, indeed it is this humble prince that is requesting. Once your highness enters the royal capital, this humble prince will continue to act in good faith. Li Chen's expression was neutral, as if he were deep in thought. Fpyq said, your highness should not go. At the very least, we need to bring more than 1,000 troops. On the other hand, Fpyq's expression wasn't good. In the hundreds of years of Jiang history, never had so many enemy troops entered the royal capital. But he could no longer persuade Prince Chun away from that. As a result, he said, this humble prince agrees. If your honored self brings 1,000 men, wouldn't that be too much? In an impassive manner, Li Chen said, 500. This prince will only bring 500 men into the royal capital. At that time, we can continue discussing the armistice. A wave of relief washed over Fpyq. Ever since he received Princess Chongping, he treated her even more respectfully than he did his main consort. He even had a Han-styled house built for her, and sent people to purchase Han servants to attend to her. Even if the siblings meet, Princess Chongping should not have anything bad to say about Fpyq. Xinyuan country. The second time Ji Huan and Yuan Rong had entered the palace to meet with Tan Qiao was unexpectedly receiving another country's envoy. Ji Huan and Yuan Rong shared a look. Yuan Rong sneered. It's bound to be the Qiang envoy. Minister Tan surely is stupid. The envoys of Great Kong have yet to leave, but he openly meets with our enemy. Ji Huan softly said, from what this humble official knows, Xinyuan country's king is difficult to deal with. Why has he yet to make an appearance? Why did he have Minister Tan curry favor with us while also having a vague relationship with the Qiang? What do you mean? The other day, according to the subjects of Xinyuan country, the condition of their king has started to improve. So much so that he could be intimate with women. In Ji Huan's heart was a frightening conjecture. He kept it hidden, but the urge to say it drove him crazy. The Qi and Han subjects are at odds. This Minister Tan is of the Han but is close with the high-ranking Qi subjects. Would King Cheng be at ease handing over these important diplomatic relations to such a person? Or, could something have happened to him and he had no choice but to have Minister Tan handle national politics? Yuan Rong paced with his hands clasped behind his back. He frowned then nodded. You've got a point. Perhaps the internal strife between the subjects of the two ethnicities will be an opportunity for us. Minister Tan is weak. In that case, we shall get more advantages while this weak subject is in power. A smile appeared on Yuan Rong's face. Wonderful. Then we will wait here until Minister Tan finishes his meeting with the Qiang. Elsewhere, Tan Qiao detained the Qiang councilman. A few sturdy Qiang men had arrived, the leader of the spies being Mu Dong. The moment he had opened his mouth, he requested for King Cheng to quickly meet with their master Bo 2K. Tan Qiao had declined in a few words, but those men said that if Cheng Sija did not go, they would push all the blame onto Cheng Sija in front of Great Kong. Then Cheng Sija and Xinyuan country would have to wait for all 100,000 troops of Great Kong to arrive. Tan Qiao had paled. But he didn't know what to say. He knew nothing about the circumstances between the great state of Kong and the Qiang. However, if he didn't do anything, Xinyuan country might be destroyed by enemies on all sides. Tan Qiao had great aspirations in managing Xinyuan country well, in helping the civilians become even more prosperous and have no worries. But if the country was destroyed, what could he still do? It had been difficult to trick the Qiang into temporarily staying in one place. Then he realized the diplomats of Great Kong had been waiting for a while. What did you say I was doing? Asked Tan Qiao, wide-eyed. "This slave said that your honored self was meeting with the diplomats of the Qiang," said the servant in a soft voice, startled. Tan Qiao's legs went weak and he immediately collapsed onto the ground. His whole body gone cold like ice. The eunuch quickly supported him, bringing him into the inner chamber. Someone went to summon an imperial physician. Someone went to summon the queen. Once those people arrived, Tan Qiao already had a fever and was delirious. Naturally, no one noticed the eunuch who had spoken for Tan Qiao before. The eunuch took his time snickering, before retreating. Originally, Feng Qiang wanted to meet with the envoys of Great Kong. But her maidservant said with hesitance, "Your Highness, your abdomen." Feng Qiang gritted her teeth. The father of this child is incompetent. He actually fell ill from being afraid of a few Qiang people. So what else can I do? Watch as the envoys of Great Kong take our land? To make me their subject? Keep dreaming. The maidservant was so scared that sweat drenched her whole body. She realized that the queen had never given up her goal of ascending the throne. During midnight, Tan Qiao roused. And he wanted to see Cheng Sija. Feng Qiang understood what his action meant, and couldn't help but slap him on the face. She sneered. "If you release Cheng Sija, what's awaiting us is only death." Blood clung from the corner of Tan Qiao's mouth. He stared at her indifferently without a word. Feng Qiang had already called for people to surround this place. "You're sick to the point of deliriousness. You should stay here to recover for now." Tan Qiao watched as she left and unenthusiastically said, "At a critical juncture, if you seek the king's help once you've become a prisoner, it'll be already too late." Feng Qiang gritted her teeth and pushed the door open. Cheng Sija, who was standing underneath the trapdoor, rubbed his chin. He nodded and said, "Tan Qiao cannot be considered too stupid. Unfortunately, this Feng Qiang who only thinks about this small Xinyuan country every day still doesn't understand." Not once did Qi Yunruo hear them mention Ji Huan. A bit anxious, he looked at Cheng Sija's back figure. He must let Brother Ji know that they must demand that Xinyuan country remove their spies from Great Kong. Otherwise, who knew when they would cause trouble, endangering the safety of the state and court. "How can I let Brother Ji know?" Qi Yunruo cast his gaze downward. As he walked, a thought hit him: could he shake off Cheng Sija and escape? Even if he couldn't, if he made some noise and signaled to someone his presence, that was still good. Everyone was afraid of the walls having ears. Everyone would guard against having those they didn't know spreading their secrets. Or spread fake rumors. Brother Ji was intelligent. He would definitely understand. Actually, Qi Yunruo had long since guessed Cheng Sija wouldn't release him even if Tan Qiao let Cheng Sija go. He guessed correctly. Before Cheng Sija used him in an exchange for benefit, he would not let such a juicy piece of meat escape his mouth. Furthermore, he was certain that Qi Yunruo knew the envoy Ji Huan. Every time they mentioned him, Qi Yunruo's expression seemed too normal. Almost as if forced. Cheng Sija was waiting for Feng Qiang's last stupid idea, when Qi Yunruo had already prepared to escape into the secret pathway without him around. It would be best if he could find Brother Ji. If he couldn't, then he'd make a lot of noise. Xinyuan country's spies were bold. Some even hid in the palace. Qi Yunruo waited for a chance. As he napped, he overheard someone talking to Cheng Sija. Once the other party left, there wasn't even one person outside the room, including Cheng Sija. Perhaps the time when Cheng Sija could leave the residence had arrived. He took a deep breath. Quietly entered the secret pathway. He didn't know where to go. Recalling the decorations and furnishings of the palace when he had first arrived, he headed south. After many twists and turns, he came to a dead end. Qi Yunruo changed directions. He saw a flight of stairs. When he climbed it, he heard a faint Qiang tongue. He climbed higher. The Qiang man's voice was loud and clear. Although Qi Yunruo didn't understand it, he knew this was where Tan Qiao was currently holding the council members of the Qiang. Qi Yunruo hated the Qiang people to the bone. He listened attentively. Judging by the voices, there were at least 3 people. He hesitated, and knocked loudly on the stone bricks that could be moved. After that, he sprinted away. The Qiang people were in the middle of discussion. So the loud knocks had startled them. They rose to their feet, attempting to find where the noise had come from. One of them stared intently at the floor. Angrily said, "There's a trapdoor underneath." Another Qiang raised his large hammer. With a roar, he slammed it on the ground, creating a huge crater. Then the 3 shared a look and jumped in together. End chapter. Fpyq Qiang. Chapter 45. Slave. Currently, Cheng Sija strutted in his ceremonial robes. At the main hall, he received Yuan Rong and Ji Huan. Qi Yunruo? He wasn't worried about him. There was no way he could escape. Without the master keys, he could not leave the gates of the palace. If Qi Yunruo entered the secret pathway, he could only walk around in confusion. Cheng Sija said in a dignified manner, "I was sick these past few days and have neglected the envoys greatly. If my subjects have done or said anything wrong, may you gentlemen not take it to heart." Yuan Rong said, "Since your highness has personally come to receive us, this subordinate will once again list the conditions. I understand your intention." "No need to repeat it," said Cheng Sija with a smile. The moment Cheng Sija had appeared, Ji Huan knew that there would be trouble. With Cheng Sija around, Tan Qiao was nowhere in sight. This confirmed his suspicions that there had been a power struggle between the king and his subject before, and Cheng Sija won. Ji Huan would have rather dealt with Tan Qiao. This Cheng Sija was indeed too difficult to handle. Cheng Sija said, "However, from what I know, there should be many misunderstandings." Ji Huan frowned. "What does your highness mean?" Cheng Sija lightly coughed. "Let's talk about Xinyuan country providing the Qiang with provisions first. That wasn't done by our initiative. It was rather because we no choice but to. The 2 Sir envoys may not know, but Xinyuan country are neighbors with the Qiang, and my civilians survive by farming and doing business with them. Our army is only to protect our border and is small in number. Our weapons are poor in quality. We cannot win against the Qiang in a fight. If we suddenly stopped providing them with rations during the war, perhaps the savage Qiang people will see us as the next target. Unlike the Great Kong, we do not have a place like Yushu Pass, which is easy to defend but difficult to besiege. The land of Xinyuan country is flat and cannot guard against 100 Qiang cavalry soldiers. Our Xinyuan country can merely eke out a living under the feet of your distinguished country and the Qiang. It is truly difficult to do." He talked, and was practically in tears. The corners of Yuan Rong and Ji Huan's lips twitched. The faces of the other Han subjects of Xinyuan country showed their embarrassment. There were also people like Shang Guanyao, whose belly shook from laughter. Cheng Sija actually used his sleeve to wipe his eyes. Choking with emotion, he said, "A strong country like Great Kong wouldn't understand the hardships that our small country must go through." Yuan Rong was at a loss, but Ji Huan said, "Since this is the case, why not have Great Kong absorb Xinyuan country? In the future, if the Qiang dares to try and take over 10 feet of your land, then let us know so we can send troops to protect you. In the future, with Xinyuan country relying on Great Kong, no one would dare to take advantage of you." Cheng Sija's expression froze. His gaze, which had fallen on Ji Huan, proved cold enough to freeze, but in the blink of an eye, such a look vanished. He warmly said, "Many thanks for the concern of you gentlemen. Although my Xinyuan country is small and our voice weak, I strive to keep it going. There is no need for Great Kong to worry." "Then what does your highness have to say about Xinyuan country ambushing General Sidi?" asked Ji Huan. Quick as lightning, Cheng Sija said, "Our Xinyuan country has been framed. Xinyuan country has never sent people to ambush the army of Great Kong. If these gentlemen have any evidence of this fact, please show it. Do you gentlemen know how I received my injuries? It was because I knew someone was pretending to be my country's people, committing the crime of attacking allied nations. So I personally went to investigate. Then people of an unknown origin unexpectedly injured me. Such words struck Yuè Hóu and Ji Huan speechless. From what I know, those people dressed like the Han ethnicity, and kept saying they were from my country. It's obvious that they were pushing the blame on us. I speculate that there are people in Great Kong that want to harm His Highness Prince Chun and my country. From the Qiang territory to Zenyuan country took one day if one traveled as fast as possible. Ji Huan had already received Li Chen's letter. He was very concerned for little Qi. This subordinate has one more thing in mind and wants to consult with your highness. Cheng Sija smiled. Speak. Ji Huan said, this subordinate represents Prince Chun to request help from your country in finding one person. Oh. A smile graced Cheng Sija's lips. Ji Huan unfurled a painting he had drawn last night. Qi Yunruo's appearance was clear on its surface. Cheng Sija's pupils dilated. However, the smile on his face grew. Just as he was about to say something, a rumble erupted underneath him. Ji Huan and Yuè Hóu naturally heard it, too. They stood with their faces full of shock. At that moment, Cheng Sija frowned. In a stern voice, he said, someone escort these envoys out of the palace. Startled, Yuè Hóu stared at Ji Huan. As Ji Huan listened calmly, he seemed to have heard yells beneath the floorboards. He seemed to have heard the Qiang tongue, and faintly the Han tongue as well, and the words stopped there. The floor shook without end. Ji Huan waved off the people who had come to escort them out. With a grim smile, he aimed his gaze at Cheng Sija. Your Highness, what is the meaning of this? Finally, Cheng Sija's expression changed, growing worse and worse. He was already aware that Qi Yunruo had caused a mountain of trouble for him by provoking those Qiang men. In a flash, the voices vanished from the room. Ji Huan's heart raced. Then once again, he smiled. So, there are actually secret pathways in the palace of your distinguished country. Cheng Sija said, having 3 or 2 basements is great for storage. So, the Qiang people are things that you store. This subordinate wonders what they are needed for. On Ji Huan's face was a trace of malice. Which imperial concubine does this storage belong to? Or does it belong to a kitchen? It wasn't just Ji Huan who had come to this conclusion. So had Yuè Hóu. Zenyuan country possessed many spies. They were at every place, in every country. Their king did not even spare his own palace. Spies eavesdropped in every direction. In all likelihood, those rumors of such had not been baseless. Ji Huan gradually revealed a smile. King Cheng, we shall return for today. Tomorrow, once your highness tidies up the basement, we will return. Qi Yunruo had thought he was already sprinting pretty fast, but those Qiang people chasing him had indepletable stamina. They could still pursue him to no end while holding such heavy weapons. Completely lost, Qi Yunruo naturally did not know he had passed by the area beneath the main hall of the palace. He was currently headed for where Cheng Sija had detained Feng Qiang. Tan Qiao was also being held nearby there at the moment. Before, when Cheng Sija had still been detained, Feng Qiang contacted her clan, preparing for when she would ascend the throne. Yet, someone had relayed this information to Cheng Sija early on. So, when Cheng Sija had come out of imprisonment today, he spared no time in controlling the situation, imprisoning Feng Qiang in a hidden place at last. Qi Yunruo had run to the point where he couldn't run any longer. His only goal was to find a way above ground. He dashed up another staircase with railings, pushed open the floorboard, and slammed it down after climbing out. He firmly pushed it down so no one could escape. As he scanned his surroundings, he caught sight of a beautiful woman tied to a chair. A rag was stuffed in her mouth, and she stared at him with wide eyes. Sitting on top of the movable floorboards, Qi Yunruo calmed his heavy breathing. Once he noticed there was no one else here apart from him and that woman, a wave of relief washed over him. However, he had felt relieved too soon. Booms rang out beneath him. The Qiang men had started to strike the floorboards with their hammers. Feng Qiang's head was adorned with jewels. As her head shook, so did the jewels from her adornments. She stared at Qi Yunruo anxiously, her voice muffled by the rag. Qi Yunruo rose to his feet. He had finally realized the woman's identity. She was the queen of Xinyuan country, Feng Qiang. So, Cheng Sija had captured her and detained her here? It seemed the floorboards would not be so easily blasted aside. Qi Yunruo rushed to Feng Qiang's side and removed the rag from her mouth. Feng Qiang said, "Hurry. Let me go. Let me leave the palace. You know how to escape this place. Hurry. Hurry." Who are those people? A crack had appeared on the floorboards. The enemy of one's enemy was one's friend. Qi Yunruo untied the rope around Feng Qiang's body. Feng Qiang stood and removed all the jewelry on her head. Then she ran off. Suspecting she knew how to get out of the palace, he followed her. Once they were outside, Qi Yunruo realized that this was an abandoned wing of the palace. There was no one around. It seemed Cheng Sija did not want others to know he had deposed Feng Qiang, and as such imprisoned her here. Qi Yunruo watched as Feng Qiang followed along a small path out. He couldn't help but ask, "Where are we going?" Feng Qiang did not respond. From ahead, voices could be heard. Immediately, Feng Qiang hid. Qi Yunruo noticed she had to support her lower abdomen due to moving too quickly. The two hid behind an artificial mountain and watched as a group of guards patrolled the area. Once they were out of sight, Feng Qiang headed for the path they were on before. But the further they went, the more patrolling guards there were. Qi Yunruo wondered whether this increase in guards was because they had noticed his escape from the noise, or because they had discovered Feng Qiang was missing. All of a sudden, Feng Qiang said coldly, "Who are you? Why were you underground?" "Cheng Sija captured me." Feng Qiang arched a brow. "You're from Great Kong?" Without hesitation, Qi Yunruo nodded. Feng Qiang led Qi Yunruo as they avoided the patrol guards, arriving at a small door at a side corner of the palace. There were only 2 people guarding it. They seemed to be of Han descent. However, Feng Qiang strutted as she passed by them. Qi Yunruo could only follow her. Expression gloomy, Feng Qiang said, "Where are our people?" His Highness had prepared in advance. Today we absolutely had no opportunity to contact anyone. The 2 gate guards had long since been bought by Feng Qiang, and were responsible for helping her escape. On the contrary, Feng Qiang released a breath of relief. If the people of her ethnicity did not enter the palace, then they still had a chance. One of the gate guards noticed Qi Yunruo and asked, "Who is this?" Not wanting to waste time, Feng Qiang said as she walked, "Someone captured by Cheng Sija. He could be useful to us." There was no one outside the small door. There was also no one to help them. Qi Yunruo followed Feng Qiang and asked, "Where do you want to go?" Feng Qiang was extremely familiar with this path. Bit by bit, unease filled Qi Yunruo's heart. It seemed Feng Qiang wasn't limited to hiding in the property of her family but had other safe houses as well. Throughout their short encounter, he learned that Feng Qiang was sensitive and mistrustful, not to mention selfish and callous. This road ahead was also dangerous. Qi Yunruo stopped in his tracks. Feng Qiang turned her head, staring at him indifferently. "I saved you and you helped me escape," he said. "We're even, so why don't we go our separate ways now?" "What kind of identity do you have?" asked Feng Qiang. "Why did Cheng Sija kidnap you? And why were you underground?" Since she was also a smart person, she quickly understood. Cheng Sija had secret pathways installed in the palace? And the people chasing you were of the Qiang. Qi Yunruo did not answer her first question, but without the slightest hesitation, he sold Cheng Sija out. There are many secret pathways in the palace. King Cheng has the whole palace in the palm of his hand. Today, I prepared to escape, went the wrong way, and startled the Qiang envoys. Then they smashed the ground open and chased me. Feng Qiang's expression was unsightly to the extreme. Cheng Sija had probably been eavesdropping on Tan Qiao and her discussions from underneath the floorboards. No wonder he had not been one bit afraid. He had a way to escape. Qi Yunruo said, Mistress Feng is a female hero and certainly has a chance to make a comeback. Cheng Sija is only relying on treacherous schemes. He might not be your opponent. Feng Qiang's expression lightened. But she still seemed unwilling to let him go. The two of us together would be more conspicuous than just one person, said Qi Yunruo. If we are discovered because of this, your honored self would lose more than you gain. Feng Qiang grunted in acknowledgement. As she ran, she said, we'll separate at the human market ahead. Qi Yunruo made his acknowledgement known. All of a sudden, he stopped. What's ahead? An impassive air to her tone, Feng Qiang replied, I left some people at the human market. The human market has crooks mixed in with honest folk. So, it's a convenient place to hide. Human market? Qi Yunruo frowned. Wasn't that a place to purchase servants and slaves? Didn't Xinyuan country claim that their civilians lived in ease and comfort? That their lives were peaceful? Why was there such a place here? But it didn't matter what he thought. Feng Qiang was very familiar with the path. After 1 hour, Qi Yunruo had to support her. Feng Qiang endured the slight pain in her lower abdomen, all the way to this place. Originally, Qi Yunruo wanted to get directions to the consulate to find Ji Huan. But he worried someone would find him on the way there. He also worried that his appearance would attract Cheng Sija's notice, throwing Brother Ji into a position of disadvantage. All of a sudden, Qi Yunruo saw from not too far away people crowding around a human broker, a total of 6 layers of people. He stood at a higher height and loftily said, Today, the people I purchase will be sent to the eldest prince of the Qiang, Fpyq, to attend to Princess Chongping. Do you know who Princess Chongping is? She is the royal princess of Great Kong. At present, eldest Prince Fpyq is the most favored of the Qiang princes. Those who are chosen will live comfortably. Qi Yunruo's heart trembled. Princess Chongping? The prince's elder sister? Someone said with doubt, but I heard that right now, the situation of the Qiang is desperate. Great Kang's troops have besieged their land. Would we be in danger if we go there in the future? Not caring one bit, the human broker waved his hand. I just learned of this news. Great Kang's prince personally entered the Qiang's royal capital for peace talks. In the future, those who need to surrender ought to surrender, and what should be paid in reparations ought to be paid. The war would end. In fact, Prince Fpyq personally sent people to say that they want to purchase clever boys and girls to wait on the princess. The Prince of Great Kong. Among the crowd, Qi Yunruo widened his eyes. Was it His Highness? If he personally entered the Qiang's royal capital for peace talks, then he would definitely see Princess Chongping. Qi Yunruo made a decision. He looked at the Han girls and boys that were to be bought as slaves, deep in thought. In the end, he forced himself to the front of the crowd. The human broker haughtily selected people. He only wanted those who were 15 to 16 years of age, who were pale and pleasant to the eye. He felt as though he were doing a good deed. He purchased the slaves at lower prices than the others. As Qi Yunruo waited during the process, his heart thrashed against his chest. But the human broker only glanced at him, before looking at another person. Qi Yunruo couldn't help but say, I want to sell myself. The human broker looked at him. Qi Yunruo was wearing the clothes he had on after Cheng Sija had captured him, a clean uniform of a guard whose body shape was similar to his. The color was dark but appeared to be of good quality. Also, his hands and face did not have any scars and calluses. One glance, and it was clear he never did any hard labor. Qi Yunruo said, I can't survive on my own. I want to sell myself. The human broker hesitated for a moment. Qi Yunruo blinked before saying, I'm literate and can count. I can do anything. An idea suddenly appeared in the human broker's mind in the form of 2 words, fugitive slave. Qi Yunruo's servant attire was made from good materials. One glance and it was clear that he was a servant of a prominent and distinguished family. The way he was hurriedly selling himself certainly meant he had committed a crime in his previous master's household, and escaped to avoid punishment. But the human broker quickly thought, this kind of person was free. As a result, he pretended to check Qi Yunruo's body, patting it down, and squeezed his arms. He nodded, and then as if conferring Qi Yunruo a benefit, said, okay. I will take you. A wave of relief washed over Qi Yunruo. He walked into the crowd of chosen people. Currently, in the palace of Zenyuan country, the tunnels had already been exposed. Cheng Sija simply sent people to descend into them, to find where the people who had caused a disturbance had gone. In the end, they found a hole smashed through the ground where Feng Qiang had been imprisoned. Those 3 Qiang men had already gone above ground, yelling in anger. There was no sight of Qi Yunruo or Feng Qiang. Immediately, Cheng Sija ordered for the city gate to be sealed. But once he recalled that the envoys of Great Kong had yet to leave, he could only order that the search for Qi Yunruo to be in secret. On no account should they attract others' notice. Meanwhile, Ji Huan was right in the middle of discussing with Yuan Rong what they had seen today. Yuan Rong smiled. I wonder how those Jiang people discovered Cheng Sija's secret tunnels in the palace. Today, we could be considered to have seen a good show. Ji Huan pondered, before saying, I believe those Jiang people were chasing someone. Could it be that they discovered a spy eavesdropping? Ji Huan shook his head. He no longer tried to think of the reason. Rather, he said, what happened today reminded me how worrying it is that Zenyuan country's countless spies are everywhere. Previously in the capital, there had been rumors slandering Prince Chun. I suspect it was the work of those spies. Yuan Rong nodded and sighed. In the past, there had been countless spies in our country, giving the Qiang people and Zenyuan country news about us. We could not guard against them. On Ji Huan's face was a trace of a sneer. Aren't they unwilling to take anything out to repay us? Then we'll have them take back the things they gave. End chapter.